We would rather have snow than this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So this backyard here is just getting wrecked.
The house started fiercely shaking, and then we just hear a big boom. And the ceiling fell down, wires came down, beams came down.
Right now, California is dealing with a massive, life-threatening storm, leading officials to warn people to stay inside and off the roads. I'm Ellison Barber in for Gadi Schwartz, and you're watching. Stay tuned now. The storm has killed 3 people so far and has left millions of others under flood alerts, with several counties in Southern California already under a state of emergency. Officials say all 3 confirmed deaths are from fallen trees in Northern California, where high winds are a major problem. One man in Napa described the moment a tree hit his home while his kids were asleep upstairs.
I was just in the middle of that room. Tree obviously falls, takes out this whole corner, this whole side of it, lands up against part of that window over there, and of course, obviously on their house as well.
All 4 of your kids are up in that top corner?
They're all right in there. So you look out their window and you just see tree.
Over 130 flooding incidents and nearly 50 mudslides have been reported in Los Angeles. 16 people were rescued from a single landslide in the neighborhood of Studio City, and officials fear the continuing rain will only trigger more. A water rescue crew also in L.A. saved a family of 3 after rushing water trapped them in their car. In San Jose, another rescue team saved 3 adults and several of the family's pets trapped by a rising river. And it's not just about the rain. Ski areas across California have already been inundated with significant snowfall, with parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains getting nearly 3 feet of snow in the last 24 hours. Our team is following this storm as it moves across California tonight. NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns is standing by with your forecast. But let's first go to NBC News correspondent Sam Brock in Napa. Sam, what sort of damage? Yeah. Go ahead, Sam. You take it away.
For sure. Sorry, Elsa. I didn't mean to cut you off there. If the story of Southern California right now is the flooding and the mudslides, the narrative of Northern California, as you mentioned at the top of your segment, these massive trees that have been uprooted, it is a miracle, Ellison. I haven't seen any fatalities here in Napa. The 3 so far that have been confirmed all come from Northern California, Santa Cruz technically, and then also the Sacramento area. But look at this. We're talking 10 to 12 feet at least in terms of the trunk of this Douglas fir tree, which has been here, according to the couple that's lived in this house for the last half century or more. And they say there were no signs of instability. And then all of a sudden, these winds and this storm picked it up and threw the tree into the living room portion of their house. There's actually a punctured branch right in the wall over where I'm standing. And then on top of that, there are just a couple of rooms down the hallway. Hear this at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, wake up and discover this tree is on the top of their house. And I have seen 2 or 3 other examples of something that looks very similar to this all throughout Napa. Something else I want to get to right now, the history of a 150-year-old church, the First Presbyterian Church in Napa. These drone images really give you a sense of what happened. The winds pulling the shingles and portions of the roof completely off in some spaces, so the water was pouring in. This is a church, Ellison, that is the only designated historic landmark in the county, and it was threatened as a result of this storm. We spoke to the pastor. Here is how he framed it historically in terms of context.
Can you imagine it went through many world wars, at least 2 world wars, and it's gone through 2 pandemics, and then it's gone through many earthquakes, many tragedies, but it's still standing.
And so inside of the church, what they did was took tarp and covered all of the pews because this water was pouring down. And Elson, it was surreal that you're looking out at the stained glass, the Good Shepherd, the top of the church, the apex of it, and I'm seeing a shingle dangling from side to side today. This is the same church that had $2.5 million worth of damage that was fixed over the course of about a decade. This goes back to 2014 when there was a Napa earthquake, and now they are dealing with this all over again.
Wow, such a poignant reminder of how dangerous Mother Nature can be. And that tree, I mean, you think of those branches, those essentially can turn into weapons as the wind moves in. Forecasters, Sam, they are using this term potentially historic storm. What exactly do they mean by that? And what is the advice to people possibly caught in the middle of it all?
Numerically, this is historic. So for downtown LA, let's focus right now in the LA area. It has been a 97-year record in terms of the amount of rainfall that just came down. Within 24 hours for the LA area, we're talking about 4+ inches of rain, basically an entire February's worth of precipitation all at once. It was the 10th wettest day in the history of that area. And also just that level 4 designation of excessive rainfall had never happened in Los Angeles before. 80% of the flood-related damage, 40% of the deaths all come under those specific circumstances, Allison. So certainly alarm bells were raised going into this event. And in terms of advice, what people are being told to do, stay inside and don't get out on the road, and specifically follow evacuation orders when those are issued in your area. We know, of course, in Santa Barbara, those are no longer active. But for many parts of Southern California, now San Diego as well, is starting to buckle down for yet another round of this.
Sam, I imagine a lot of people are already dealing with power outages across that state. And where you are, what is being done to help them?
Okay, so it's come down a lot. It's a great question because at its peak, there was about 650,000 customers in the 9 Bay Area counties that did not have power. And for sort of context there, that means you figure 3 or 4 people a household on average. You're talking about 1.5 million, 2 million people with no power. That has come all the way down to about 150,000, 200,000 in the Bay Area, 300,000 for the state of California. But I just saw PG&E trucks going up and down the roads here, and some of them are kind of rural. It's not all sort of a mainly accessible thoroughfare, and they're going down and they're trying to restore power. This house right here has 2 80-something-year-olds inside. They don't have their power yet. They do have a generator, and we're certainly hoping for their sake and many others that gets corrected soon.
NBC News correspondent Sam Brock in Napa there. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Let's bring in NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns now. So, Bill, this storm, it's also being described as a bomb cyclone. What words are you using for it?
You know, it's historic, it's a bomb cyclone, atmospheric river. These are all just terms that we use to help designate and tell you the seriousness of a storm. So this one, call it a bomb cyclone. We have a lot of these, most nor'easters, most hurricanes, and both powerful storms that head up into the Canadian Maritimes do this. It just describes a storm that rapidly intensifies. That's all bomb cyclone means. The atmospheric river portion means that we're taking moisture in the air from the tropics and bringing it to areas in the mid-latitudes, which don't typically get it. That's this bright stream coming right through L.A. all day today and all the way up into areas of southern Nevada. So let's add to Sam's numbers. So this is the 2-day rainfall total at USC in downtown L.A., almost up to 7 inches. This is, you know, going back records at this station, 147 years. And if you take these 2 days, it's the 3rd highest 2-day rainfall total. So, yeah, this has been historic. And typically in downtown L.A., they only get 14 inches of rain a year. This is half of what they would get in one storm throughout, you know, typically a whole year. So this has been a big rainfall event. It's actually surprising that we haven't seen worse pictures than we've already seen, considering being in the high risk and how much rainfall we've seen. We still have one flash flood warning here. This is north of downtown LA, heading north on the 405 toward the Hollywood Hills here. And so we've had heavy rain this afternoon. Mudslides are still possible. Right now, just some light rain, but we do think that will, you know, intensify a little bit this evening. We'll get some periods of heavier rain. So the steadiest rains and the strongest winds have ended. So that's the great news with this. So as we look at this, as we go throughout Tuesday, tomorrow, 5 p.m., there's still some downpours out here, but it's not as concentrated. So it's beginning to head out. Then we'll start talking tomorrow. We do have a slight risk of flash flooding in areas of Arizona as the storm pushes to the east. And then as we head into Wednesday, we take the storm all the way out here into the middle of the country. And then we're still left with some snowy areas and showers. But for the most part, we finally get a day to dry off on Wednesday in Southern California. So additional rainfall, when we see the orange and the yellows, that's about another 1 to 3 inches still possible, but it's going to be spread out, not like what we had last night, especially during the Grammys when it was just pouring. That was the peak of the storm. We still will get isolated areas of some heavy rain, so we're calling for another 1 to maybe 3 in L.A., especially the hills. San Diego area, especially in the mountains, maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain out of this. North of L.A., just about done. And as far as the snowfall goes, you know, I saw Mammoth. Have you ever been up the Mammoth Mountain there in California? Beautiful place. Yeah. 46 inches of snow with this storm, so they're approaching 4 feet.
Wow. And before we let you go, I do want to also ask you about some video that we have that is out of Lee Canyon, Nevada. There was reportedly an avalanche. Police had 4 people that were reported missing. They were searching for. They say they have found them safe. I mean, unbelievable stuff. They're still trying to get people off of that mountain. What are the conditions in that area?
Yes. Have you ever been in Las Vegas? This is the mountains that you see in the distance. They're about 45 miles away. Elevations up to 8 to about 11,000 feet. They had a foot of snow yesterday. They were expecting 17 inches of snow today. And again, we're fortunate. Everyone was found and they were safe. They've evacuated. They took everyone off the mountain safely, so that was all good. And 3 weeks ago, there was an avalanche that killed a skier in the backcountry at this location, too. So everyone's relieved that this time a happier ending.
My goodness. Bill Cairns, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Britain's King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer less than a year and a half after ascending to the throne.
My thoughts are with him, with the family. I hope that they're all able to rally together and, yeah, that he gets well soon.
He's the monarch of our country. He's someone who a lot of people take great comfort in, and I do too, and I think I'm sure he'll fight it like anyone else would, but it's a horrible shock.
Buckingham Palace made the announcement earlier today, about a week after the king left a London hospital following treatment for an enlarged prostate. Buckingham Palace did not say what form of cancer the king has. They also didn't say what stage it's in, but they did say it was not prostate cancer. NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald joins me now from Buckingham Palace. So, Megan, what has the impact of this announcement been for the people there in London and throughout the country? And also in terms of the palace, are they saying anything else tonight about the king's diagnosis?
Well, Alison, you know, it was certainly a shock to the country and, quite frankly, the whole world. And as you mentioned, we don't really know much. We're not getting a lot of details from Buckingham Palace. But what they have confirmed for us tonight is that when the king went in for his treatment for his enlarged prostate about a week and a half ago, they detected an issue. After multiple testings, it turned out that, in fact, the king does have a form of cancer. Like you mentioned, what kind of cancer, we don't know exactly. The palace is not confirmed. But look, you know, we saw the king yesterday at Sandringham. He was walking to church services. He was waving. He was smiling. He looked to be in good form. We know that he then returned to London, where he underwent his treatment. We know he has a schedule of planned treatments. Now, doctors are encouraging him not to attend any of his public events until after treatment. How long will that be? That, of course, is something that the palace has not said. But again, they have confirmed that the king does have a form of cancer. Alison?
Yeah, Megan, palace officials, they say the king, as you touched on, going to suspend public engagements, sort of left it there. They've talked so much about this new era, not necessarily Buckingham Palace, but watchers of it, about this new era of medical openness for the royal family. Do we expect them to say anything about treatment? I mean, in some ways, they are still being open, just acknowledging it for, at least for the historically what we see and hear from the royal family, but there are so many gaps. Do we think we could hear more?
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. What we've seen so far really is unprecedented. We've never seen this level of transparency from the royal family about their health issues. I mean, 3 weeks ago, they announced that planned abdominal surgery of Princess Kate. They're saying she's doing well. They told us that she's not going to be returning into the public eye until likely after Easter. And then, of course, all the news that we've heard about the king. 2 reasons here. The palace is saying that they want to obviously keep off any rumors or speculation about what's happening. But also, King Charles has been very transparent that he wants to try and put the news out there so that he can encourage and inspire other men who might be having similar symptoms to get checked, Alison.
All right, NBC News foreign correspondent Megan Fitzgerald outside of Buckingham Palace. Thank you. And now NBC News medical fellow Dr. Akshay Syal joins us for more on this. Okay, so King Charles was discharged from a London hospital after he underwent a procedure to treat an enlarged prostate. That was a week ago. Now we have news of this cancer diagnosis, and we don't have a lot of details. So we want to be careful not to speculate here, but I am curious, From a medical perspective, when you look at that timeline of this incident, him being admitted to the hospital, a week later, a cancer diagnosis, is there anything that stands out to you?
So, Allison, I think, what started all of this is we found out that he had an enlarged prostate, which, by the way, is not uncommon. About 80% of men, at least in this country, over the age of 70 will have this. It's a very common diagnosis. It can be treated with medication or it can be treated with surgery. I mean, in this case, it sounds like they opted for some sort of procedure where they take off a little bit of that prostate, they shave a little bit off to help you go to the bathroom easier, and so you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night and keep going to the bathroom, that sort of thing. I mean, Allison, in that procedure, it turns out, whatever that procedure was that they did, they saw something unexpected. And, we talked to a urologist at the Moffitt Cancer Center today who said this is not common if you go for this procedure for them to find something else. It's only happened to this person, in the last 30 years of practice a handful of times. But, life happens and things come up. So all we know right now is it's not prostate cancer. Our condolences to the royal family as we await to find out more about what he's going through.
Generally speaking, if you are someone that has gotten older, right, as we age, we all worry about different health issues. I'm in my 30s now, but I'm very aware of different things that impact me now that I didn't think of in my 20s. He's 75. We know that he had this enlarged prostate, but we don't know a whole lot about his general health condition. But how difficult can it be to fight off something like cancer as we get older?
I think that the thing that really stuck out to me today was cancer does not discriminate. Whether you're living paycheck to paycheck or you're somebody who's in the royal family, anybody can get hit by this devastating disease. And, looking at King Charles's health history in the past, for his age at 75, he's remarkably healthy. Some things he's gone through, maybe some appendicitis, some, benign growths removed from his face, some broken bones from playing polo, but nothing really in terms of chronic disease, at least that we know about it at NBC, that he's been fighting. So really the take home is this thing can hit anybody, Allison.
So with that in mind, big picture, what should all of us know about cancer screenings? Is there some sort of catch-all? I can go do this once a year and you check me for every cancer that we should be doing? That's the holy grail that we're after, right? A blood test where you just go for, as part of your cholesterol, you just get a blood test and it can show any sign of any cancer. Really, that's what we're going for, but we don't have that. And so what do we have are screenings, things like mammograms and colonoscopies that you can get starting at certain ages that can help detect these things, Allison. But I think, really when you're talking about screenings, the thing I want people to know is bring up your family history. Because if you're somebody who's, for generations, your family's fought breast cancer or colon cancer or any cancer, that could change at what age we start those screenings. And I think sometimes people, for whatever reason, it doesn't come up in their doctor's appointment and then things get missed. So I think for all those out there getting those screenings, make sure you talk about, my mom had this, my grandmother had this. It really can change what we do. All right, Dr. Akshay Syal, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Anytime. Don't go anywhere because we are just getting started. Yet another bad day for Boeing. Misdrilled holes were just discovered on some planes that were being inspected. We have those details. Plus, we're taking you aboard the USS Eisenhower aircraft carrier in the Red Sea for an exclusive up-close look at the threat to commercial vessels. And just ahead of Valentine's Day, the FBI is warning about romance scams. How one con in particular, called pig butchering, is on the rise. That's all just ahead, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Chile is grappling with severe forest fires that have killed 112 people so far. At least 14,000 homes and entire neighborhoods have been scorched by the flames. Chilean officials say hundreds of people are still missing as they fear the death toll could continue to climb. It is the country's worst national disaster since the 2010 earthquake that killed roughly 500 people. Senegal's parliament postponed the country's planned presidential elections because of a dispute over the candidate list. The vote was supposed to take place later this month, but political opponents say prominent opposition members were excluded from the list of candidates. Protests against the decision have erupted in the capital. Mobile internet access was even restricted by authorities. Now that election is supposed to take place in December. Stunning new video has emerged from Japan showing the terrifying power of that 7.6 earthquake that struck the country in January. You can see a car shake violently side to side as buildings wobble in the background, eventually collapsing one after another. A cyclist is also seen being knocked around when a structure collapses just steps away from them. At least 238 people were killed in that quake. And finally, at least 10 people were killed in an attack on a police station in Pakistan today. Militants launched an attack and an exchange of gunfire lasted more than 2.5 hours. Right now, it's not entirely clear which group possibly carried out the attack, but the country has seen an uptick in violence ahead of its general elections, which are expected later this week. Half of the country's polling stations have been deemed at risk of violence. Tonight, the U.S. promises to launch additional strikes against Iranian-backed militants in the Middle East. The first wave of strikes began over the weekend, with the U.S. hitting more than 100 targets in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. The White House says that they have not ruled out striking targets inside of Iran as they aim to weaken Iran's so-called axis of resistance. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Antony Blinken sat down with Saudi's Crown Prince to discuss the need for humanitarian aid in the Gaza Strip and push for a new hostage deal. It's the Secretary's 5th trip to the region since the war between Israel and Hamas began in October. He's expected to also visit Egypt, Qatar, Israel, and the occupied West Bank before heading back to the U.S. NBC News foreign correspondent Raf Sanchez has more.
Secretary of State Blinken meeting for about 2 hours with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman in Riyadh, the Saudi capital, earlier today. The Crown Prince has the potential to be a very important figure when it comes to who's going to pay to rebuild Gaza on the other side of this war. I was in Gaza over the weekend with Israeli forces, and the scale of the devastation is hard to overstate. Just neighborhood after neighborhood lying in ruins. One estimate based on satellite analysis shows that more than half of all the buildings in Gaza at this point have been partially or completely destroyed 4 months into the war. Two big priorities for the Secretary's visit to the region, his 5th since the October 7th attacks. One, preventing further escalation with Iran. The U.S. did attack facilities belonging to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps in both Syria and Iraq. But as far as we know, no Iranian operatives have been killed. Iran has been relatively restrained in its condemnation of those strikes, not promising revenge or anything like that at this point. The other big priority, trying to clinch a deal to pause the fighting in Gaza, get more humanitarian aid to Palestinian civilians, and secure the release of some of those hostages being held by Hamas. At this point, Israel and Hamas remain pretty far apart. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is under intense pressure from the far right of his cabinet, is saying he is not prepared to end the war as part of a ceasefire agreement, nor to release thousands of Palestinian prisoners being held in Israeli jails, some of whom have convictions for terrorism offenses. Hamas is saying those are both key demands without which there cannot be a deal. The U.S., Qatar, other intermediaries trying to close those gaps and get this deal over the line. Back to you.
Raf Sanchez, thank you. If the Houthis continue their attacks on commercial vessels in the Red Sea, the U.S. believes there could be some serious global consequences. A naval commander telling NBC News today that the threat is so substantial in their view, they could very easily block commercial paths and navigation for weeks or months on end. NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Kuby went aboard the USS Eisenhower aircraft carrier in the Red Sea as they face this threat head on.
The Iranian-backed Houthi militia again firing on commercial ships in the Red Sea and vowing more is to come, despite new U.S. retaliatory strikes designed to deter them.
We will not hesitate to defend lives and the free flow of commerce.
We were there on Saturday night just after 10 p.m. when the U.S. and British military hit 36 Houthi targets in 13 locations.
We're on the deck of the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier in the southern Red Sea. This is where, over the weekend, more than 24 U.S. military aircraft took off to conduct strikes against the Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Captain Marvin Scott flew an F-A-18 in those strikes, calling them a success.
We do extensive mission planning. Everyone launches knowing, what the game plan is. We rarely miss.
Lieutenant Commander Alex Morgan is a helicopter pilot.
Did we think we'd be doing it here in the Red Sea? My crystal ball was broken that day, but the way we do it hasn't changed dramatically.
The commander of the carrier strike group telling us there is still significant danger here.
How big of a threat do the Houthis pose to freedom of navigation right now?
A substantial threat. They could attack a commercial ship, render it somewhat immobile, and could bog the strait up for weeks, if not months.
And he says the Houthis are getting critical help from Iran.
They are getting intelligence from Iran. They are using Iran to give them some targeting information.
The commanding officer saying all of it creates a threat to the U.S. military, too.
Are you worried about the safety of the sailors on this ship?
Absolutely. Am I worried about the safety of the ship? Every single day.
This comes as the U.S. is also retaliating against the Iranian-backed militias responsible for a drone attack that killed 3 U.S. soldiers, hitting 85 targets in 7 locations inside Iraq and Syria on Friday. The president has been under pressure to respond more forcefully, with over 160 attacks by Iranian-backed militants against American targets since October. Mr. Biden declaring the new U.S. strikes a success.
Are the strikes working, Mr. President? Yes.
Meanwhile, these missions are also leaving a mark with the American service members carrying them out.
Seeing missiles being launched from aircraft, the explosions associated with all of these things. It's a lot of sights and sounds that will be etched in my brain forever.
Our thanks to Courtney Cubie for that report. Coming up, do you remember this video? We showed you it a little while ago. It's of a woman trying to get her stolen French bulldog back. Well, we have an update to that story. But first, you gotta see this. Snow could not stop a group of golden retrievers from making their annual pilgrimage to their namesake city. Hundreds of dogs and their owners trekked to downtown Golden, Colorado for the city's annual Goldens in Golden event. The furry friends all met up to mark National Golden Retriever Day and enjoyed frolicking in all that wet weather. For some of these dogs, it was the first time they'd seen snow. Add in a free pup cup or two, and you've got yourself a doggone good day. We will be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. In Washington state, parts of a nuclear missile were found in a dead man's garage on Thursday. You heard that right. Bellevue police say an Air Force museum told them someone offered to donate the missile, which belonged to that person's late neighbor. So the caller told the police the neighbor originally bought the missile at an estate sale. Bomb squad members were sent to investigate. They identified the missile parts as a Douglas Air II Genie missile from 1957. If you don't know it, all you need to know, that is the most powerful interceptor missile deployed by the U.S. Air Force. Thankfully, the missile remnant did not have its warhead or rocket fuel, so the bomb squad says it is not a threat. But what a weird call. And the first measles case since 2020 has been confirmed in L.A. County on Thursday. The Department of Health said the infected person arrived on a Turkish Airlines flight at LAX on January 25th and went to a Northridge area Chick-fil-A shortly after. The CDC says measles can spread through the air by coughing, sneezing, or breathing. Symptoms include a cough, runny nose, pink eye, watering eyes, fever, tiny white spots inside the mouth, as well as rashes. Other locations where possible exposure may have happened are still being investigated. And do you remember this video from a few weeks ago? The one with a woman clinging to the hood of a car in LA after her French bulldog was stolen? Well, authorities have arrested a 21-year-old named Sadie Slater in connection to the theft. The LAPD says her bail is currently set at $70,000. The dog, which you were just looking at there, has not been recovered yet, but police are still investigating and hopeful that little guy will be found. 5 former and current NHL players are charged with sexual assault related to an alleged assault in 2018. At the time, they were junior hockey players. The assault allegedly took place in a hotel in London, Ontario. That's about 120 miles outside of Toronto. Police in Canada initially investigated the allegation in 2018 and 2019, but they closed the case without bringing any charges. Now, the city's detective, Sergeant Catherine Dan, says they've discovered new evidence.
The evidence that was collected in 2018 and 2019 was used in combination with newly gathered evidence to form reasonable and probable grounds to charge these 5 individuals with sexual assault. I understand it has taken a long time to reach this conclusion, and I thank the victim for her patience.
All 5 of the hockey players are on leave of absences from their teams. Their lawyers, they say they plan to plead not guilty. Let's bring in NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster, who joins us now from Chicago. So, Shaq, this all goes back, way back, right, to 2018. Walk me through the timeline here for both the investigation as well as the allegations.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Ellison. And that was what was so interesting about the press conference, an extensive press conference that we saw earlier this afternoon. The police essentially confirming much of what has been reported. And even you heard the chief apologizing for it taking nearly 6 years to get to this point of charges being filed, though the chief not explaining why there was that delay, saying that could compromise the case. So let's go through that timeline and step back a little bit, because this goes back to an alleged assault that happened on June 19th, 2018. Police say it was immediately reported to the police, but after about an 8-month investigation, they say the case was closed, suggesting there wasn't enough evidence to move forward. Everything changed, Ellison, in 2022 after the victim filed a civil lawsuit against a number of players and organizations. One of those organizations is Hockey Canada. They settled the case outside of court. Now, while that settlement happened behind the scenes, it sparked outrage. And police say news of that settlement caused them to go back and review that initial investigation. That is what ultimately led to the charges being filed and to those players surrendering just last week or so. One thing that we heard from the lead detective is that it was because of the outrage around that settlement that led to new leads, new witnesses, and new evidence in this case.
Yeah, Shaq, talk to us about the accused here. I mean, we're looking at images of them. They play for the Flyers. One played at some point for the Calgary Flames, New Jersey Devils, right? Yeah. What else do we know about the suspects here? And are all 5 of them facing the same charges?
It gets a little bit tricky. So you have 5 of them accused. You see Carter Hart, big player, very well known in the hockey community. He plays for the Flyers in Philly. But you have, they're all aged between 24 and 26 years old. One is a former player, but each of them is charged with 1 count of sexual assault. But Mike McLeod, who plays for the New Jersey Devils, he's facing a 2nd charge of being a party to that sexual assault. So there's a little bit more information we'll learn about it. But again, the investigators and the chief didn't want to get into the details of exactly what happened, suggesting that is something we will learn in the weeks and months to come. We can expect to see all 5 of them who have pled or say they will plead not guilty. We'll expect to see them back in court on April 30th.
Sexual assault allegations are a big deal regardless of who is involved. This, though, certainly hits differently in Canada because it is such a hockey country, right? And this does involve something to do with their national team, the junior team, but a national team. Have we heard anything from hockey officials in Canada?
Yeah, no, and the interesting or weird timing that you have here is this was NHL All-Star Weekend, so the commissioner was asked about this repeatedly as he spoke to reporters and as he was addressing reporters. And one thing that they said is that NHL, they conducted an investigation. It went on for about 12 months. They say that they interviewed every member of that junior hockey team. They say they weren't able to interview the victim in this case, and they say they had a report that they were ready to send to the Players Association, and then that body usually is the one that determines what those next steps will be in terms of penalties. But listen to what the commissioner said now that these charges have been filed.
And so at this stage, the most responsible and prudent thing for us to do is await the conclusion of the judicial proceedings, at which point we will respond as appropriate at the time.
So these proceedings can go on for some time. We also know that Hockey Canada also did their own separate investigation, just like the NHL. We likely won't know the results of that for some time, Ellison.
A lot of unanswered questions there. NBC News correspondent Shaq Brewster, thank you. We appreciate it. Still to come, it is now up to a jury to decide if the mother of a school shooter should be convicted of manslaughter. We have an update from the courthouse in Michigan. That's when we come back. Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. A small plane makes an emergency landing on a road in Florida. Cell phone video capturing the moment just a few hours ago, showing the plane overhead with drivers looking up as it is coming down. The pilot apparently reported engine trouble before landing. 2 people were inside of the plane at the time. Local fire officials say, amazingly, no one was hurt. Nearly 100,000 gallons of water was needed to put out a fire at a lumber yard in Virginia yesterday. Every fire department in Nelson County showed up to help, along with several more from outside of the county. There have been no reports of injuries. A South Dakota tribe has banned Republican Governor Kristi Noem from their reservation over remarks she made about the U.S.-Mexico border this weekend. The Pine Ridge Reservation president said the decision was made after the governor talked about wanting to send razor wire and security personnel to Texas and claiming cartels are infiltrating the state's reservations. Noem responded by accusing the reservation of playing politics. FIFA announced the dates and venues for each World Cup match in 2026. The U.S., Mexico, and Canada will share hosting duties for the newly expanded tournament, and the U.S. will have 11 host cities. Dallas will host 9 matches, the most of any site, and the World Cup final will take place at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And the Grammys turned into ladies' night last night. Women swept all 9 categories that were presented during the telecast, including Taylor Swift's Album of the Year win, becoming the first artist in history to win that category 4 times. Some other artists to take home statues included rapper Killer Mike, who won 3 Grammys, and Jay-Z, who was given the Dr. Dre Global Impact Award. More problems for Boeing tonight as the company has found more mistakes during the production of its 737 MAX jets, this time on brand new planes that have yet to be delivered. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has more.
It's more evidence that Boeing's quality control problems extend through its supply chain. Boeing now says it will likely delay deliveries of some 737s after a supplier discovered 2 holes may not have been drilled exactly to our requirements. Spirit Aerosystems makes the fuselage. It struggled for years with production problems. The misdrilled holes were on a window frame. Boeing says 50 undelivered 737s will need a fix, though it insists it's not an immediate flight safety issue and all 737s can continue operating safely. Spirit now says engineering determined that there is no safety of flight issue and it will work with Boeing. 1 month after a door plug blew out on a MAX 9 over Portland, grounding the entire fleet, the FAA today said nearly 94% have been inspected and returned to service. But Boeing's quality control remains under investigation and heightened scrutiny.
And we'll ensure that those airplanes meet all safety standards before we can approve them for delivery.
After a recent safety stand down on the MAX production line, the company received 1,000 employee suggestions for improvement. Boeing CEO insists that includes Spirit Aerosystems.
We own our supply chain. We own Spirit. We own the results of our work. We understand that. We really do.
Tom Costello, thank you. Jurors in Michigan will return to court tomorrow to decide if a son's crime should lead to his mother's conviction, as prosecutors are looking to hold Jennifer Crumbley partially responsible for the Oxford High School shooting carried out by her son, Ethan. Crumbley has been charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter after her son, who was just 15 years old at the time, killed 4 classmates and injured 7 others at the school back in 2021. Crumbley has been accused of negligence for allowing her son to access the gun and for ignoring his mental health issues. She has pleaded not guilty to all charges. If convicted, the trial could set a precedent for parents being criminally liable for the violent actions of their children. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is covering this trial in Pontiac, Michigan, and she joins us now for more. So, Maggie, negligence, this idea, right? It's a word, a term that can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And legally, There's a lot of gray areas associated with it, right? If we do simplify this case, the jury here is ultimately trying to decide whether or not the deaths of those 4 students are the direct result of Jennifer Crumbley's inaction, right? This is an unprecedented case, so it makes sense that the jury would maybe have questions that we don't expect. But today they stopped twice to ask questions about the rules for considering evidence. That is unique to hear from a jury. What happened there?
Well, it's not unique for a jury to ask questions while they're deliberating necessarily, but what they had to ask about was really interesting. You talk about negligence. Actually, in the jury instructions this morning, the judge explained to these jurors, who, by the way, have been really engaged throughout this entire process. They've been adamantly taking notes throughout it. We've seen them get emotional when there was graphic video being played or emotional testimony on the stand. But the judge explained to them this morning, listen, you can come to the conclusion of a guilty verdict uniquely in this case through one of 2 ways. And she said the first one is through what they call gross negligence, what we've been talking about. In other words, you can decide that prosecutors prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Jennifer Crumbley basically exercised gross negligence in her failure to secure the gun and the ammunition that day, allowing Ethan to get access to it, and then to some degree causing the deaths subsequently of his 4 classmates. That's avenue number 1. Or, the judge said, you can pursue avenue number 2. You can do either one of these. It's not both. It's either or. Number 2 is essentially saying you can decide the prosecution proved that she failed to exercise her legal duty as a parent under Michigan law, which requires a person use what they call reasonable care to protect other people from their child, from being hurt by their child, given what they know about their child. And obviously that implies that they're talking about the warning signs prosecutors say she knew about Ethan's mental health, that he'd been having hallucinations, that he'd been drawing violent images on his homework, writing things like blood everywhere and the thoughts won't stop, help me. They said you can go either way, and if you decide that prosecutors proved either avenue, there you have your guilty verdict. So they had questions about that. They also had questions just kind of reiterate why Ethan didn't testify. And the reason behind that is that he said that he would plead the 5th. And the judge said that there is case law barring attorneys from calling someone who has made it clear they will plead the 5th. So a lot of really unique aspects, as we expected in this case, that jurors really wanted clarification on. But again, Allison, we had 7 hours of jury deliberations today. And at this point, we still don't have a verdict. So we will be back here for day 2.
Wow. All right. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa, thank you so much for breaking that down. We appreciate it. A breakthrough bill that aims to crack down on record migration at the southern border is already facing opposition. After months of negotiations, last night, a bipartisan group of senators unveiled their $118 billion proposal. It would impose stricter immigration and asylum laws and also unlock foreign aid for Israel, Ukraine, and Taiwan. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is urging the Senate to hold a key test vote on Wednesday, but the odds of the bill clearing both chambers look pretty slim amid growing backlash from hard-right Republicans. Among the skeptics, House Speaker Mike Johnson, who signed onto a statement saying the bill is, quote, dead on arrival if it makes it to the House. On Sunday's Meet the Press, Johnson dismissed the idea that former President Trump has been influencing the conversation.
Is Donald Trump calling the shots here, Mr. Speaker?
Of course not. He's not calling the shots. I am calling the shots for the House. That's our responsibility.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles picks up this story.
Ellison, the situation here on Capitol Hill seems to be getting more complicated by the minute, and we have both Republicans and Democrats expressing concern about this sweeping package that was unveiled on Sunday night. First, let's talk a little bit about what's in this bill. It does provide funding for Ukraine. It provides funding for Israel in their war against Hamas, and also funding for U.S. allies in the Indo-Pacific region. But it's the $20 billion immigration piece that is causing all the concerns. There are a number of provisions that would change the U.S. migration policy, including making it more difficult to get asylum, also creating more detention facilities, and also creating a number by which, if there are a number of migrants that cross the border, that would be 5,000 a day, it would give the administration the ability to essentially close the border down. Now, Republicans believe that's not enough. They're also complaining about a number of other aspects of this package they believe just don't go far enough to solve the problem. So they're saying, let's just not do it at all. And that number seems to be growing. On the House side, the Speaker of the House saying that the bill is dead on arrival. He has the support of the other leaders of the Republican leadership. On the Senate side, we are starting to see more Republican senators express the same amount of doubt. Now, the deal here, though, is that you don't necessarily need a majority of senators on the Senate side in order to pass this legislation. You just need enough to get over that 60-vote threshold. The problem, though, is that there are some Senate Democrats who are expressing concerns. They're worried that these policies, as it relates to immigration, are going too far. They're also worried about unconditioned aid to Israel. So this is a careful balancing act of not losing too many Republicans and Democrats at the same time to get it over the finish line. The plan now for these Senate negotiators is trying to pass the package with 60 or more votes and put pressure on the House to at least bring the bill to the floor. They believe if the bill comes to the floor, the votes are there. But right now, the situation seems pretty bleak in terms of getting this package over the finish line. Ellison?
Ryan Nobles, thank you. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything. The FBI is cracking down on online romance scams where victims are losing thousands of dollars. The con is called pig butchering. We'll explain, so stay tuned. It's almost Valentine's Day, and that's probably exciting for a lot of people. But if you are with the FBI, well, they're a little concerned, and they're warning people right now to be on the lookout for online scams during this time because they could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian has this report.
She called herself Anna, and she reached out to Barry May over social media.
The Asian woman that supposedly lived in New York on Fifth Avenue. So we just started chatting.
Soon, Anna was sending explicit photos. May, divorced and retired, was smitten. She told him they could be together, but there was a catch.
If I invested with her or invested in the crypto, then that she could come to me and we could get married.
He liquidated his 401k, sending more than $500,000, his life savings. Then he got a call from the FBI.
They said this is a major fraud situation, and I'm not the only one.
It turns out May was involved in a common internet scam and also a new FBI initiative to protect people from financial ruin. The scam is called pig butchering, so named because victims are likened to hogs, fattened up for slaughter.
It is incredibly devastating, and people are in fact losing all they have.
Enticed by the prospect of romance and riches, thousands of people have sent their hard-earned money overseas.
I have seen losses well into the $2, $3, $4 million range.
James Barnacle runs the FBI's financial crime section. He says the scams are typically run by organized criminal groups based in Southeast Asia.
What kind of losses are we talking about?
In 2023, we see it well over $3.5 billion of re-reported losses and around 40,000 victims in the United States.
Most of that money is never recovered. So now FBI investigators are trying something different, using sophisticated cyber techniques to identify and warn victims before they lose all their money.
Between exploiting intelligence, which would be working with financial institutions, reviewing suspicious activity reports, and have been able to contact victims and stop them from making further investments.
I was about to get a loan from my credit union, and they said, do not do that. I got about $10,000 left in my account to my name, and I've got a daughter at home that's autistic.
Is this financial situation affecting the care that you're able to give?
Yeah, because I can't afford medicine.
The FBI warning came too late for Barry May.
And what's your message to other folks watching this?
Run away, because 99.9% of the time it's going to be a scam.
Ken Delanian, NBC News, Washington.
Finally tonight, a positive story for you. A surfer's story of perseverance, how she found the courage to take on massive challenges and some pretty big waves, becoming one of the greatest surfers in the world.
Wow. That's a beautiful ride.
For Brazilian surfer Maya Gabeira, her dreams have always been as big as the waves she surfs.
The world record was always a dream of mine.
For nearly 20 years, the 5'5" big wave surfer has taken on the male-dominated sport by storm.
I love to be in the ocean. I think it's, I'm probably more comfortable and happy in the ocean than in land.
She's a 7-time world champion and holds 2 Guinness World Records, including this record-smashing surf in 2020.
I was a little bit frightened at that moment, to be honest.
Maya riding a 73.5-foot wave in Nazaré, Portugal.
I just heard that immense explosion and I realized not only it was really, really tall, but it was very powerful and it was very close to me.
The biggest wave surfed by anyone that year, and the biggest wave ever ridden by a woman. This January, another victory. At 36 years old, Maya, once again, taking the top spot at Nazaré's Big Wave Challenge.
I was coming back from an injury, so that's always very challenging.
Her journey to greatness is a story of perseverance and courage.
Every day, you would go to the beach and not really see any girls in your everyday, like, surfing routine.
She moved from Brazil to Hawaii when she was just 17, quickly getting herself into big wave competitions and winning.
I kind of ventured into the world of surfing always with boys.
But in October 2013, one of those massive Nazaré waves nearly killed her, knocking her unconscious and breaking her ankle before a fellow surfer helped pull her out to safety. Doctors warned her she may never be able to compete again. But she got back on the board, setting her first Guinness World Record just 5 years later.
I think that's in sports, right? I mean, every sport you fall and you get injured and you want to get back up because you love it.
Her love for the ocean, also something she works on off the board. She's an ocean conservationist and an advocate with organizations like UNESCO and Oceana.
I just try to find all the ways I can maximize my time out there. I think it's a great place to get in touch with nature, to learn, to be connected.
And one more thing on her resume, children's book author, writing stories inspired by her real-life experiences of breaking records and gender stereotypes, plus overcoming her own challenges, like asthma.
I got one little girl come up to me once after the book, and she grabbed onto me. I think she was around 6 or so. She was like, "But do you really have asthma?" And I was like, "Yes." She was like, "I have it too." So it's unique when you can connect to kids like that.
Now Maya's inspiring other young surfers to take on the waves, even if it means getting knocked off once or twice. That does it for us tonight. I'm Ellison Barber. We will see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.